talk of the town.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Everyone's talking all about
I
it.
believe BlazBlue just came out not too long ago either. So I mean, like that's being added to the lineup. Pretty big deal. We're actually getting back into the swing of things like it used to be back in the Street Fighter 4 era, right? Back in our Super Arcade when we had a plethora of games being played.
Yeah, not just the one. Although, what happened to Mortal Kombat? Didn't there used to be a Mortal Kombat? Or I guess the people stopped playing it before.
I don't know why, but there was still a ton of entrants. Chris G was still playing and taking those single-handedly. But again,
then at some point he was the only person entering.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
exactly right.
No, that's not true at all. Much love to NetherRealm Studios, I guess. Anyway, no, they're great. Actually, I still play that game. Anyway, so. No, we're just gonna chat. We're just gonna have a little bit of a thing, but we are gonna have like a little bit of a topic as well. I don't want to, it's not. We're gonna float around, but it's wherever it takes us. So really, the idea is that I've been hearing a lot personally in my life, on Twitter, on the Twitch sphere, the Twitter sphere, and also just like the hemisphere, the subject of getting good or getting good. Getting good. G-U-D.
Right. And what do you mean by that exactly?
I think it's getting good. Getting good is what that's what it translates into.
Being
the idea is
somewhat of a threat.
A threat, or even just like getting to a level of competence. I've been hit with a lot of let's just say so. There's a lot of tournaments happening.
Right.
There's a lot of talk about like going to these tournaments, and then people go, and they get bodied, and then they stop playing. And that's sort of part of it,
right.
Isn't that a part of it? Now I brought you on because, you're a friend of mine, you're a friend of the stream, but also you've been competing. How long have you been competing now?
To be honest, I'm technically an 09er. Like I've played in like numerous tournaments back in high school, like 2005, 2006, but nothing at a serious level, right? So taking it seriously in terms of competition, I would say since the inception of Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, but you've done a lot. I know you've done final round. You've done. Since then. God, how many? I'm not asking rhetorically. How many SCRs? How many NCRs? How many Evos?
Since
final round. So that's like well above a dozen majors.
Yeah, I would say definitely above like 20 at least.
Yeah, plus the locals.
Definitely. Oh, I've gotten to hundreds of locals.
Hundreds.
And it's not even
at this point,
just my area, but like I visited other scenes like San Diego when it was alive and well. They're still alive and well. But
still
it was, like,
alive
super
and well.
popping, right?
Yeah.
There was San Diego. There was the whole Arcade Infinity crew, Family Fun, Denjin Arcade, all these guys, right? I would visit each and every one of these hotspots on numerous occasions. So,
like, what do you think is the first step? So someone says to you, all right, like, not only am I brand new at this game, but, like, I have no idea how to crack fill in the blank game. Like, what is your, think back to that first moment when someone took you under the ring. By the way, who were some of the people you looked up to in your local scene that took you under? Because I know there's a couple people who, like, pretty much taught you how to play that they know about, that you guys know.
Indirectly. So, a long time ago. So again, this
in an arcade far, far away.
Actually, no, this was on YouTube when YouTube first started, right? Gutex actually had a podcast with Pyro Lee, right? I've only seen this guy. He's a young player from Third Strike, really like one of the best American players ever, right? I learned from him off of the Gutex podcast, and I've seen him before. I was like, hey, that guy looks familiar. He plays a Family Fun Arcade, right? So I decided to listen to it, and all the stuff that was on there. And like some of the gameplay I would watch afterwards, it's like, you know what? Pyro Lee seems like a really stand-up guy. He sounds like he knows what he's doing. I'm going to go watch his videos. And that's pretty much how I learned, or I taught myself how to play, right? I would see what they were doing, and I would literally mimic them move per move and try to see why that works or understand the mechanic. Because I played Street Fighter on a casual level, right?
Right, yeah.
So I had a basic understanding of it. But at the same time, it's like, I want to get good like these guys because they make it seem fun. I wonder if I'll have that kind of level of understanding where I actually know what I'm doing. So literally every day I played. Every day. I just forced myself to play. Well, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
And it's funny too, because like when I started taking it like seriously, it's funny, like when you met me, I was getting back into it, and I was on like a 5-year hiatus because I mean, technically the first fighting game tournament I ever entered was for Street Fighter Alpha 3 at Otakon 1999. In Baltimore, Maryland, and I got bodied, and to be honest, I was still in middle school at the time, so honestly, I'm not even sure. looking back, I left after I lost my first game against this Ken player. I was playing as Blanca. Again, I had no idea what the hell I was doing right there. But then I don't even know if it was double elimination. I just kind of left. My mom was standing behind me, and she was like, "Is that it?" And I was like, "I guess I lost." So,
dang, that's rough.
but no, yeah, it's like seriously, you know, when I started like thinking about, like, I want to get good, like I want to get really good at this game. Luckily, like we were smack dab in the middle of the YouTube era. Like,
yeah, that's
you know,
absolutely right. Yeah,
and I feel like, you know, anybody who's like, you know, kind of at first, not complaining, but maybe bemoaning the fact like you're not good. Well, okay, that's fine. You're new.
Right.
You're new at this game, and there's a lot of new people out there. There's a lot of old. Not old, but you know, there's a lot of new people. There's a lot of veteran people, players. So you know, there's a lot of content. You know, think about like in Valle's. Think about like in Valle's day, or think of like in James Chen's day, Tomo's day. Yeah. You know, when people were playing in the 90s, they didn't have that resource.
You had to get that VHS tape linked from your boy,
and it was
all the way from Japan, and
it
copy
was
that
recorded,
thing
and it was recorded off a recording. It was like a Xerox of a Xerox.
That's exactly
so
it.
Until you're basically like you're taking notes and like you're looking between squiggles, like just trying to. Yeah. Was that a meaty? Was that a meaty? No. What was? You know
exactly.
Was that a fireball? And you know, so those guys had to invent it on the fly, and they just had to like hear it. Can I do that? Oh, I guess I can. Like, so let's put in a quarter that's going to get eaten. They're not even only putting in quarters just to like play people. They're putting in quarters just to test stuff out.
Yeah, that's that's absolutely vital. You know?
We don't have to do that. So like we don't.
We're spoiled.
To be
honest.
So. I know my thing. Like if I'm directing this sort of in my head to this person who asked me, like, you know, I always ask them, "Are you watching videos?" And they're like, "No, I just want to invent my own tech." And I'm like, you know, why? I mean, that's great.
I understand.
Have your own style. I'm not trying to deny you, you know, the idea that you can have your own style, you can have your own ideas.
Definitely, yeah.
But use your resources.
Yeah.
And one of those resources is mimic other players, and if
there's no shame in it, really.
There's no shame. I mean, because you know, there's only so much that can happen on that screen. Only so many choices. You only have 6 buttons to choose from.
Right.
And then 8 cardinal directions, and then it's the sequence in which you know the options and the choices. You know, it's then it becomes you versus your opponent rather than your character versus the character.
Yeah. Which is like, you know, the most beautiful thing for me is like you could still redefine yourself in each and every match depending on your opponent's reactions. Like say, me for example, you know, I'm a very rushdown-esque kind of player, right? If I were playing somebody that knew how to block all my setups or knew how to late tech, which is like one of my biggest demons, right? I know how to change my style up from one to the other, but still keep it my way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So again, the way that Street Fighter V is right now, I feel like it's slightly linear, but it's still enough to give yourself your own brand of style.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you can't really stay original because it's something somebody else has done, to be quite honest. And there's no shame in that. You know?
The fighting games in their most, from Street Fighter 2 on, it's a 25-year-old thing.
Yeah, exactly.
The discussion we're having right now was a discussion that someone was having in 1991. You know,
most
like
definitely.
how do I get better at this? Like, and then to what end?
Yeah.
To what end? Like, so that's another thing too. I mean, tournament culture. You know, like are you able to do it? Are you able to go? And if not, you know, like, so again, like another hiccup on the road to getting good. Like I hear, and people have asked me, you know, like, well, I don't have Wednesday Night Fights. I don't have the Foundry. You know, I don't have Churning the Butter. I don't have you know, the New York scene or the Texas, you know, scene or anything like that. So like, what now? What do I do?
It's funny you mention that because sometimes players would play at home and then they'll get complacent with being the best on the block, right?
Right.
You know, that trap can definitely happen as well at your local scenes. Like, you get consistent top placings at Wednesday Night Fights. Sure, we have a plethora of talent. You could get top 3 at NLBC. That's cool too. You go to a major and you get bopped. Why? Because you're feeling complacent and you haven't really put the time in. Some of the factors that happen, or some of the factors that go into these things, is that you're so familiar with all the friendly faces or the friends you've made, and you're used to that setting of comfortability, but then when you come to an unknown place for a major, you're like, yeah, you know, I'm going to body these fools. You kind of lose sight of what you're really there to do, which is show your skills, show your worth.
Yeah.
Sometimes at Wednesday Night Fights, the people that show up, they kind of forget that mission. They get comfortable. They meet new people, and now they're like, oh man, I can't wait to see the homies again. I can't wait to talk about this and that. And they kind of forget the goal of actually getting good. So I would say, just keep attentive to what your desires are in terms of the gameplay or like where you want to be as a player, right? Because the friends are going to be there. That's cool. They're going to support you if they're the homies, right? But like if you're going to get good, be really attentive to what you're doing in game in tournament. That's what you're really there for. You know what I'm saying? So people kind of get stuck in the vortex. It's like, oh, I kind of want to just go to hang out now. I just hang out with the people.
And that,
which is a cool thing.
And that's great. I mean, that's fine.
But
Like there's still a community out of it. I mean, this is called the fighting game community.
Absolutely.
So I guess there should be this communal feel, but then
there are sacrifices to be made if you're gonna get good. To be honest, you're gonna have to put the time in. Actually go through the tournaments without losing your focus. Chris G. I'll put Chris G. as an example. He has a ton of friends here, obviously, right? He's like one of the most popular dudes here.
Yeah,
and
he's a shake everybody's kind of hand.
Sitting by himself right now, over like where the seats are, just hanging out, just focusing on like what to do next for the tournament, right? So that says something. That's why he's a top tier player, because he always has the game on his mind to play, the focus, the drive. He doesn't let his friends distract him. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like one of the little factors here. It all ties in with just being good with the people here. You have to apply that outside of this realm of the community.
Yeah. No, that's perfectly relevant, because some of the reasons why these questions are on my on my mind is I was recently encountered by this person who was like, basically wants to just say, well, I don't have any friends that play, and like I don't have any friends that play. All I can do is like go online and stuff, or whatever. But they're within stone's throw of a place that has locals.
Okay.
But they don't want to go because they don't have like friends there. But like I was kind of like, well, okay. So when I moved to Southern California, and then eventually like a year in, I decided, I want to get back into fighting games. I didn't have anybody to find.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody. I just made a choice.
Yeah.
I just made a choice. I just went to West Coast Warzone, right? And I was just like, all right, I know nobody here. I'm definitely not ready. I'm definitely not going to win this thing, but maybe I won't go 0-2. Maybe I will go 0-2 or whatever.
Okay.
And then, that's where, and my first opponent was Commander Jesse. And then, so I just talked with him, and it was just one of those things, I was all by myself, nobody there to support me, nobody there to talk about, like, no over my shoulder to give me tips or anything.
Right.
I was like, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Why did I just lose so badly? Like asking those questions. Yeah, I was all alone. And yeah, like it can be embarrassing. I'm going to, kind of quote unquote embarrassing. Yeah. It's not fun to lose, but
it's not.
But, if you're not willing to like hold on to that L, if you're not willing to put yourself in front, because guess what? Yeah. Even if you're not playing on stream, you're still in front of a lot of people who watched you lose. And if that's too embarrassing, like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. You just got to get over it.
Yeah.
You got to get over it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's extremely vital to understand that, these L's are yours and yours alone. None of the opinions around you should matter if you're trying to be a top player.
And think of it this way, especially if you're playing Street Fighter V, Capcom is recording every single game you're playing.
Yeah.
Every single win, every single loss, up to like whatever, the most recent 20 or whatever. Yeah. It's all recorded. I could look you up. You could look me up. We could look up each other and just see all your losses anyway. Yeah. So whatever you're embarrassed about,
get over it.
Get over it, because someone is watching that replay. Anybody can, and they're just going to watch you lose horribly anyway.
Yeah.
You have every match you play now is under high scrutiny. You don't know if someone is streaming. Someone is streaming. All of a sudden, like you see your name in a highlight reel of like, oh wow, the most amazing comebacks, and it's your ass getting. It
could have been one of mine. It could have been one of my highlights. It could have been one of Nick Tanella's highlights. Yeah, you never know.
You just don't know. I found Nick Tanella getting destroyed on a Snake Eyes compilation.
Ugh.
But it was a Japanese YouTube channel. But they found it. They found it because obviously they were trying to highlight Snake Eyes. They didn't show that in that set Nick actually won like 2 of those games in like a first of 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but who cared?
Yeah, right.
Who cared?
Yeah, he's still here. He's still pushing buttons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he's doing really well too.
Yeah. So like, but it's just that idea. Your losses, man. Get Get over it.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yeah. And on top of that, the sooner you get over these losses, or you accept the fact that that losing is a possibility, right? No one's the best. Like, no one's the immaculate player, right? Sure, infiltration, whatever, he's fine. But
oh yeah, he's perfect.
in all seriousness, right? In terms of holding that L, right, you also have to be attentive to the loss itself, because like if you're embarrassed, you're going to lose sight of the lesson. That's absolutely vital. You're going to ask those questions like you brought up earlier. It's like, oh, why did I get bodied? You start to answer those things little by little. The more you focus into the game, the more you get used to playing, and the more L's you take. Right?
I think that biggest question really is. Excuse me. Wow, that sucked. That was weird. That was that energy drink.
Nice and juicy.
The biggest question they need to ask is why. Because I was actually going to bring it up earlier when we were just saying, whatever. Pick your hero, flat out mimic him or her. But you always have to ask the question why. Okay, so they do that.
Yes.
Why does that work for them?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why is that working for them? And then then you can start probing deeper. It's always how doesn't matter. How is forward and fierce punch, whatever. Mm-hmm. But why? Why did they make that choice? Why in that scenario, that positioning? Why while standing here? Why with that much life?
Yeah.
Why with that much meter? There's so many things going on, and if you just got to ask those questions, why? And whenever I bring that up, like I'm always surprised how many people are keeping quiet to themselves, but really it applies to you guys too.
Definitely.
Which is they just 100%. Clam up and they're just like, I never asked that question.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know why.
I saw it work once, so I was just like, you know what, maybe that's how the character's supposed to be played. I mean, to a degree, sure. Like Ryu, low forward fireball is a thing, right?
Right.
But
dash up on their back row, medium punch.
So people are like, yeah, I guess I could do that, but then if you hit him point blank, it doesn't work. It's like, oh, but he did it, maybe I could keep doing it, maybe it's just like a one-time thing where it shouldn't have worked or something. Asking those important questions and really putting the time in to do the research is absolutely crucial.
Speaking of research, again, another thing that you'd be surprised that I don't see people do. And to be honest, I'm guilty of this too. Doesn't matter. None of us are exempt. How many people do not go into training room? What are you guys doing?
Or just the internet looking at matches or looking at tutorials. Yeah. We both play like a considerable amount. We actually have a pretty firm understanding of the game. I know for damn sure we're both looking at tutorials and we're both looking at, people playing because like not only are we commentators, but we're devotees to the game. We're disciples of the game. We're always trying to better ourselves, believe it or not.
Every morning, because I get, I subscribe to various YouTube channels,
same
not just the big ones, little ones too.
Yeah.
And like I get my notification when I wake up. I turn on my phone, get all the notifications, put on some coffee, and I just sip and while my computer, because I'm working too.
Right.
I'm actually at work. I'm just like watching replays and just like I'm taking notes. I'm taking mental notes actually on paper. Also, guys, get some pen and paper. Actually,
or just type it down.
Type it,
out,
whatever. You know what I mean.
Whatever you want, just make sure you have that information. If you have a question on hand, just type that bad boy out,
Right, exactly. Like, hey, if you're doing it for a research paper, think of it the same way. And then it's like, well, should I take it that seriously? I don't know. Should you?
That's
for you to answer.
That's up to you if you really want to get
good.
That's for you to
answer.
These are the things, the sacrifices you need to do, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna invest a lot of time. If you're tired of being a scrub, then just go for it. But if you want to be like a filthy casual,
yeah,
you can stay where you're at.
That's fine. Be a filthy casual.
I'm
a filthy casual.
Be real with you.
Every day.
If you're gonna complain about not getting tournament results, then put the work in. It's as simple as that.
Right.
So.
And then if you don't put in the work,
you can be my homie if you want. I mean, like we can hang out here at the Weds Night Fights. So we can do that.
Yeah. You can also. I mean, you can go onto Twitter. And you can complain about how small the roster is, and then simultaneously complain that you got beaten by someone who uses Karen, and that you don't find that character viable. Well, I don't know. Then you gotta put in that kind of work, stuff.
Yeah.
And then back to the training room thing. I mean, you can do this. You can kind of do this two different ways. What I'm about to say, which is, so I find the character Dhalsim annoying, and I find Dhalsim annoying because of the character that I play as.
I agree.
The character that I play as, who is Zangief. Well, I was just doing a long set with a guy who comes to Wednesday Night Fights. He's a very good Dhalsim player, and we ended it like 16-11.
Okay.
I was 11. But like the whole time we're just like talking, and I learned a ton. Now I already learned a ton, like coming here most weeks.
Right.
Watching and talking and then studying that matchup and doing that thing. But to be honest, even as much as it's plagued me, I haven't just gone into a training room for like those 3 hours. I've done like, not even, or whatever, that time, just fill in the blank, that time. And like just reminded me, I really need to. And it's the same with everybody. Like, you got those bad matchups. All right, so then what's the excuse? Are you going in the training room? Can you set aside an hour? Hey, tonight, you play an hour online every day. Instead of doing that, could you instead play that 1 hour in training room?
Yeah, exactly.
And set up a dummy to do certain things?
I would say...
So you don't get like a person to play against. Boo-hoo.
What would be great for you guys to do at home, if you guys are watching, Weds Night Fights every week, and you find one of your characters on stream, like say you play Nash and you see a Nash player, right? And he gets hit with a certain thing against an opponent, right? What I would do when I used to watch Wednesday Night Fights and I couldn't attend, I would find all those clips of when somebody got hit with like the sickest mix-up ever, or just got hit in general, and see what I could do to prevent that, whether it's like a wake-up DP or conditioning or a certain setup. Like I know Dawson, right? Dawson's got those really confusing mix-ups with Fireball into Teleport.
Right.
There's certain ways to block it. There's certain tells that you really have to study. And it's all about the spacing, the Fireball performed, and that's pretty much it, actually. Yeah, the spacing and the Fireball performed, right? So just being familiar with those situations, go into the lab and just practice that over and over again. And, instead of you being on the stream getting bopped, it'd be
maybe
the other
you'll
way
learn
around.
something,
Yeah. So again, just like as you're watching Wednesday Night Fights, if you find like a scenario, it's like, oh, I would have blocked that, I think. Maybe I should try it out in the lab. It's always a great thing to have. Just watching Wednesday Night Fights and then being able to practice something you saw off of that. So that's, again, something you're used to do.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And then, do you have a friend? Are you the only person in your block playing, or do you have like a little club? Can you get together with someone? Okay, so you can't do that. Maybe, can someone sit next to you and just do stuff? Can you say like, okay, now back up, do standing light kick, throw out a fireball and teleport, You can do this on the, with people too,
Yeah, definitely.
So if you have the time, if you're making the time to play, and I imagine if you're watching this, you do make time to play.
As you do to make time to watch the stream.
Make time to watch, yeah. Like, none of it's a waste, if you're having fun. Maybe you're not having fun, and leave. No.
Please stay.
Please stay. We need it. It's just about, finding nutritious ways. You gotta spend your time. It eats up a lot of your time. It is. It's a lot of time getting eaten, so make sure that it's nutritious. Make sure that you're getting something out of it.
Yeah.
You don't need to go in online, lose a bunch of points, leave mad, go to bed mad, wake up thinking about it, and then go back in mad when you didn't do anything. You didn't actually do any work.
That's right, yeah. I hate it when people get flustered over points for the first thing, and then they just complain about it. They never actually go back to be like, oh, well, I should have won because I know my character, and the character I played against was scrubby or was overpowered. That's not the case, man. That's never the case, to be honest. Even if it's Chun-Li.
Yeah, or Mika.
It's never the case. So, again, that's just me. I mean, Valle has also talked about that over Facebook. He's got a ton of rants about how people...
Oh, Valle he's like the biggest, like, king of rants.
Yeah.
When it comes to... But, like, positive rants. Like, very...
He's trying to reinforce the point that you need to put the time in. This is a new game. You can't just get by with what you've seen in 4 or what you thought you were good at in 4, right? You got to... especially if you're new, right? You didn't even get to compete in 4. You can't just expect to be good, There's no way. There's no way. There's some people here that are relatively new and have gotten so good so fast, like Prodigy.
Oh, yeah,
but he's
Prodigy
put in
is
so
really good.
much work.
Yeah, it came in top 3 the other week. Yeah,
Yeah.
with Jury. With Jury, no less.
I think he almost got first. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the other week.
Yeah, he lost to Brent. He got second, yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, he put in so much work, and it shows. He plays 2 characters at a solid level here in SoCal. That's a big deal.
Yeah, huge deal. Huge deal. And it all comes down to the thing is, it's all accountability.
Yeah.
Good or bad, your win is your win.
That's right.
Own that. Hey, don't put it on the well, they just made a bad choice. Right, and you capitalize. So take that win. If you're so willing to walk away with your W, be ready to walk away with your L too. Because your loss is yours. I'm sorry. Dude or dudette. Like whatever happened, man. Whatever happened in there, you only had control of your game, and if you lost, I'm sorry. You lost. That was you. You made a bad choice. You got outplayed.
Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely.
100% of the time. So the tournament's actually going to begin relatively soon. So is there any sort of like rounding out thoughts? Because then we're going to take when we get to that point.
Real quick. So
yeah, let's just
first thing to
sum it
do
up.
is take
Again,
the
a fireside
time,
chat. That's what this is.
Take the time to invest in your character, in yourself, in terms of learning the game, learning the system. Don't be ashamed to hold that L. It may be embarrassing.
Get over it.
But it doesn't really matter. Again, that also applies to you losing points online, right? But also just be a student of the game.
Yeah.
You know, if you really want to be good, you'll find the time and you'll make the ways to do so. Excuses are only going to hinder your performance. I mean, you know, again, not everybody was good from the get-go. There's ways to get around it, you know, ways to improve yourself little by little. Take those steps, make the extra effort, and get good.
And then, going off that, if you have access to a local, it doesn't matter. It could be like even if it's like a one-time, like once a month or like once every quarter, like GameStop tournament or something like that. Like whatever, man, go to that.
Yeah.
Do that.
And also, you know, social media is a big thing. You'd also find people hit them up, be like, hey, would you be down to play casuals or something? Like, you know what? If you guys hit me up on Twitter for First to Fives, which I do randomly on stream, right? If you hit me up for a First to Five, I'd be super down.
Yeah,
to
I'd
play
be down.
Each and every one of you. Same with Stantz, you know.
I'd be down.
Again, you have all the resources at your disposal. At your disposal. Use them, please.
Yeah.
Please don't complain about it. Just go ahead and use it. I mean, also, it doesn't hurt to try. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
So
there's the Woody Allen quote: 80% of success is showing up.
Yeah. So
if you don't have an actual location to show up at, well, turn on the game. Turn on the game. You got to show up.
Yeah.
Greet it. Get in the room. Yeah. Just you and it.
Yeah. Just be persistent try to be persistent. You know, it could be a little discouraging, but at the same time, just keep pushing through.
Let me just say that it absolutely will be discouraging.
Oh yeah.
It will absolutely 100% discourage you.
I've quit numerous times in the series or the span of Street Fighter 4 because I was so bad with Rufus at one point. I was like, you know what? I need to take a break.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with taking a break, but you know.
I've had that. Those losses. Those losses usually happens on stream.
Oh.
Not here. Not for Street Fighter 5, but before. And it's like, yeah, I should take a break.
I even did that with the top tier character. I did that with Nguyen. I was like, dude, I'm doing so bad with Nguyen. I think it's the character.
Yeah. It's like, but no, it's you. It's you.
It's me. For
it's
sure.
you. You suck.
Yeah.
You
exactly.
Suck.
And I had to own up to that. And then next thing you know, I was bopping people. So that was fun.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap that up. So really, it was just this was just a chat. This is just a podcast format chat. So guys, thank you so much for joining us on our little fireside chat. And
before you do, also be sure to hit us both up again.
Yeah.
We'd both be open to playing First to Fives with each and every one of you, and just to say what's up too.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Just
if you have
join
advice, let us know. Let us know what's good. You know?
And it's the same with follow us on Twitter. And our Twitch channels are also on those as well. Just hit us up, whatever. I'll even message you and give you my home number. As long as you don't abuse it. You can just text me directly and be like, hey, what's up, DoctorStantz? Get online. Get online. Let's do a set.
Sounds good.
All right. So, like in the future, we'll have more of these. But thank you so much for watching. We'll come back with actual tournament Street Fighter 5 coming up soon. All right.